When I was a little kid, the two things I loved the most in life were Godzilla and NES games. So naturally, when Godzilla, Mother of Monsters, came out, it was like a dream come true. Well, almost. To sum it up, most of the game revolved around getting through very repetitive outer space levels while smashing up tanks and jets. And when fighting against Godzilla's mother's enemies, overall, it was pretty mediocre. But back then I didn't care. When I got the game as a present for my 10th birthday, I played it night and day as much as I could. Unfortunately, I had to trade in my game for the Armagon a year later. Much to my regret, when I found out what the game was like, recently I had bought a new NES system. And I had through a lot of hunting and asking around. My friend Billy managed to find a copy of Godzilla, Monster of Monsters. I was so pumped to play my favorite game, my childhood game of my life. It had never occurred to me to ask where Billy found it, so he gave me some other games like Legend of Zelda, Bomberman, and some stupid thing called Action 52. But Godzilla had to come first. So I started the game, and the nostalgia flooded back to me in idle tidal wave. Godzilla's 8-bit theme song flooded proudly through the speakers, and I was soon grinning like an idiot. Some people laugh at me for playing such an outdated games, but I never had much more enjoyment of any of the games other than those on NES. Those 8-bit games take me way back where things were much simpler, more safe. But after what happened with this game, I don't have feelings anymore. I have forgotten how quick of a fun smashing things as Godzilla wore off while scrolling through levels. The game bombards you with bullets and crashing you into anything from every direction, and you're too big to avoid most of them. Although my excitement had worn down some, it wasn't long at all before I got to my first boss battle. My first appointment was Jizora, an obscure squid kaiju who had never been in a Godzilla movie. The most annoying thing about fighting Jizora was that it always backs you into a corner and starts smacking you with his tentacle, and you are unable to move until he gets off of you. The movie doesn't have anything to do with damage, but it could still stall you down till the timer runs out, and you would have to start the fight all over, as he regains some health. It is as annoying as it sounds, and of course, he did it when I fought him, but for some reason this caused the game to glitch up, because once he started smacking me, he never stopped. The timer was supposed to be at the end for about 40 seconds, but this lasted nearly 5 minutes. After a while, the graphics started to mess up, with red blocks all over the place, which was weird, but I had to take the game out, blow on it, and then start it again. I wasn't about to let a little glitch stand in my way, so when I started again, this time, I defeated Jizora and the level's other boss monster, Mogurilla, without any problems. So then it was the next planet, Mars. I browsed through the board and found something unexpected. Where Varan's piece should have been, there was instead just a piece representing Titanosaurus. There was only 10 kaiju in the game, and the Titanosaurus was not one of them. Or so I thought. Perhaps the Titanosaurus was originally intended to be in the game, but was swapped out with Varian or something. So I began to get very excited. Not only that I started playing my favorite game, but I was still playing the prototype of it, which some sorts play a new monster. Needless to say, I ran through the levels as fast as I could to see the Titanosaurus in action. Fought Jizora again and beat him before he could do his tentacle smack. But this time the glitch started happening when he died. Jizora's sprite did not sink to the bottom. Instead, it seemed to be devoured by the glitch, and his eyes started randomly spawning all over the screen. I know that glitches with Jizora were my first warning sign that something was very wrong with this game, but foolishly I ignored it, and proceeded to fight Jizora, who at the time had a glitch of his own. Margarita was twice as the size that he would have been, which he startled me. He was also considerably harder to beat than the usual, which is to say not at all. But soon I had defeated him. Also, when he had died, yet another glitch happened. This happened extremely fast, so I was lucky to get a screen cap of it all. But what happened was the giant Margra sprite that started to shatter and melt. Also, if you looked at the garbled text with the right corner of the screen, you will notice what appears to be a bird in a cage. I still have no idea what that meant. At this point, I was about to fight Titanosaurus when I was worried that some sort of glitches would happen again. But this time, to my surprise, Titanosaurus looked just fine, although through the game's bipedal monsters were the same height. Titanosaurus was a little bit taller. Since the Titanosaurus was actually taller than Godzilla in this film debut, I thought he was kinda cool. After every fight with the monster that wasn't supposed to happen in the game, when I took over the enemy base and proceeded to not to Jupiter like normal, but instead to Patfios.